Hi again guys, I'm back with another unboxing, another order from cubezz.com, C-U-B-E-Z-Z. This one's taking slightly longer than normal to arrive, only by a few days, nothing excessive or anything, but I actually suspect that they might not have had the puzzles quite in stock when they put them on the website, because they're both very new puzzles. So I don't know if that is definitely the case, but that's what I suspect, because normally they arrive very quickly considering they come all the way from China, from cubezz.com. And so yeah, only two puzzles in here, but I'm very excited about both of them. So let's grab this one. I'm not sure which is which, and this will be the first one I look at. So you can see it's in a mf8 dodecahedron box. I can see through there which one this is, but yeah, this is one I'm looking forward to for a long time. There's the stickers. And there's the puzzles. Wow, look at that thing. This is the Master Pentultimate, and well, I've heard some not great things about the turning, but to be honest, that first turn has been very easy, and okay, that one's a bit stiffer, but straight away you can feel it's kind of doing it's a little bit grindy, but in a way that feels like it's going to break in, if that makes sense, if you know how a puzzle feels as it breaks in. But this puzzle you're not going to expect the absolute best turning from anyway, because the way these, well, I'll go into a bit more detail about that in a second, because there's something else I need to show you before I tell you that. But I am slightly disappointed that this has been released when it has. I really wish we could have got a regular Pentultimate before the Master Pentultimate. Apparently the regular Pentultimate is more difficult to make. I really don't understand why that is. It's obviously something to do with the interior mechanism, but I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm just saying I don't really know why it would be more difficult. But you want to get them, I think, in order of difficulty, so you're kind of building up on your previous knowledge from solving the previous puzzles to solve the higher order ones. So now, if and when the master version is released, if and when the regular version is released, it shouldn't be too difficult to solve, because I've already essentially solved it while solving the master version. I mean, that won't stop me. If and when it does get made, I will buy one. But as you might or might not already be aware, but as you can see, I've popped this centre cap out. This is actually a void puzzle. You can pop out all the centre caps. And this explains the what I was about to say a little earlier, which was the mechanism for this is like a void puzzle. It works on rails, much like a void cube or any other void puzzle, like a void megaminx or whatever. So the turning quality of a void puzzle, if you've ever played with a void cube, they have to be lined up very precisely before they will turn. You can actually see the rails in there that they're rotating around on. Obviously, because the mechanism doesn't overhang, if that makes sense, like a Rubik's Cube does, you can't really get any corner cutting, because, you know, these rails have to be lined up. You can actually see, if you look at that small little edge piece there, you've got like two notches on it, and that's where the rails run through, and those two notches have to line up with the two that are under this piece here before that lot can rotate. So yeah, it has to be lined up precisely, but so far, I'll be honest, as long as it's lined up, it's turning absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. Yeah, so yeah, I've got no problem at all with this one. I have seen comments by people saying they've tightened the screws very slightly, like one person said by 1/32 of a turn. I mean, he was estimating, he wasn't actually measuring that accurately or anything, but I don't know if you can see that in there. I think you can. I'm looking at my viewfinder, but of course my viewfinder is very small, so I can't see exactly what you're going to see on the full-size version. But you can see hopefully there's a lot of screws on the interior of this, and I can't imagine how you would tighten every screw and know exactly which ones you'd already done. So having said that, at this moment I don't know whether I've got lucky and got a better version or something, but this turns absolutely fine. I have no problem with this whatsoever. I will lube it slightly, or actually maybe I won't at the moment, because sometimes I like to leave puzzles, especially ones that I think will break in a little, without lube for the first few solves, because once you lube it, it actually kind of halts the breaking in process, because the pieces are sliding past each other. They're not sort of wearing each other away. The breaking in process is wearing pieces that pass each other wear each other slightly, and it makes them fit together better, because any bits, minor imperfections that stick out, wear out an equal. They either wear that imperfection off or wear out an equal path in the adjoining pieces, so that things can turn better. And once you lube it, those pieces slide past each other instead of wearing, and it doesn't have the same effect anymore. So yeah, I think I will leave it unlubed for now. Obviously I need to go away and sticker this, which I will do in a moment, and I'll probably do some breaking in the process and try a few. Oops, wasn't lined up right. Try a few move sequences, see if I can figure anything out about this one. I've got some ideas because of a picture somebody posted on Facebook, sort of thing. I don't know whether I would have realised. I'm not going to say, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I don't know if I would have realised that it was similar. Sorry, I'm trying to be careful what I say here. I don't want to add any spoilers. You know what, I'm going to stop right there, because I'm going to end up spoiling the puzzle for someone if I don't. So I'll go away, sticker this, I will have a little play around, and I'll come back to you before I scramble it as normal. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the puzzle stickered now, and it looks fabulous. But as you can also see, I've reached that inevitable point in playing around with it, where I've done an accidental scramble while I was trying to look at some sequences. However, I think I've got a good idea of how I'm going to go about this. I can't guarantee it will work and lead to me solving the puzzle entirely, but yeah, it's a starting point at least. I've got an idea where I'm going to go. So really the only thing left to do is just scramble the thing and see what happens. But yeah, it's a great looking puzzle. When it was solved, it really does look nice. It's a beautiful puzzle without a doubt. Very happy with this. The turning, as I've said, I've been playing around with it a little bit. It's not for hours and hours or anything. Probably 10-15 minutes just having a look around, see what I could do. And it's definitely noticeable that you do have to have this. I know I said it earlier, but you do really have to have things lined up well before they'll turn, and you kind of have to take some care. The reason I actually did the accidental scramble was the algorithm I was trying out at the time got stuck, and I was searching around for the bit that was catching, and I kind of lost my orientation on the puzzle. So obviously that's going to get very frustrating if that happens during solving the puzzle, especially towards the end of the puzzle. If you suddenly accidentally mess it up because you're busy trying to just get the puzzle to turn, that's very frustrating. If you mess up through your own stupidity, then that's fine, you know what I mean? It's it's your own fault. But when you mess up because the puzzle doesn't want to turn, and you're trying to release a lockup, then that becomes very frustrating and annoying. But hopefully I'll be able to avoid that by just showing a little bit of extra care on the turns. A lot of the turns, like for example this one here, this is turning really easily. I can finger trick that one. So some of the turns are really good, but then others are quite stiff. I'm trying to find a stiff one. That one, I can't finger trick that one, or I can, but it really takes some effort. So there's quite a disparity between the tightness of the sides. However, as I showed you earlier, with all the screws in the interior, I really don't want to be going in there and trying to adjust all those screws to get it working out. I don't even know which screws I'd turn to adjust which face. So It's not like it turns really badly or anything like that. It's just a minor annoyance more than anything else. But okay then, so I think we will call that one scrambled. I'll go away, hopefully solve it, and I'll come back to you with some thoughts after that. Okay, so as you can see, the Master Pentultimate is now solved again. I solved it as I said I would, with the centres in place. I think it looks nicer this way. It doesn't look bad when it's void or anything, but I prefer it like this personally. I just wanted to show you what it looks like in its solved state, actually, because I didn't get to do that before, because I'd scrambled it before I showed you the stickered version, if I remember right. It's been a couple of weeks now. It's took me a while to solve this one. It's a beautiful, beautiful puzzle, though. I really love the way this looks. The problems I had solving it were, excuse me, were undoing setup moves. I was having to do a lot of complex setup moves to get. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid giving spoilers here. To get a certain piece type in place at the end of the solve, and undoing them, I was messing up in some way each time, and yeah, I ended up re-scrambling the puzzle probably half a dozen times, and I was getting quite frustrated with it. So in the end, I had to swap to a different method of inserting those pieces. I still think the way I was doing it was viable. I think it would work, but it's just so, it was just so complex for the setup moves for it. Whereas I found a method by Bergio on the Twist Puzzle forum. Well, I didn't find it, he told me about it, and I tried that, and it's much easier, much more straightforward, easy algorithm to remember, and the setup moves are much simpler, and with that I was able to get it all solved, thankfully. But okay, so down to a review of this puzzle. The turning quality, it varies from face to face. Some faces like that one just turned were nice and smooth. This one is a little bit grindy and tighter. There's one that was really smooth. Oh, this one's nice. There's one that was weird. I can't remember which one it was, which face it was. But there's one that's just really smooth and loose and turns great. Ah, there we go. That one. It almost turns by itself, that one. It's great. But there's quite a variety, so it's obviously down to the tension. But given the fact that there must be, I don't know, 70 or 80 screws on the inside, I'm not going to go messing about with that many screws to try and improve the tension on this, unfortunately. It's just too much hassle. However, once you've got everything aligned, it turns absolutely fine. There's no real difficulty there or anything. And once things are aligned, it's not catchy or anything like that. However, it's so easy just to have something. So say you're working on this face here, have, say, the layer at the back, just a minor misalignment, like so, and the next thing you know, you can't turn anything here. There's tiniest misalignments, lock everything up, and then you find yourself searching around the puzzle to find what's misaligned, and you forget your orientation where you were, because you'll be halfway through an algorithm when it happens, and it can be very difficult sometimes not to lose your place, because this puzzle is quite difficult in that way anyway, because there's no actual fixed centres, because you actually move the centres around as part of the algorithm. So that this is the grey face at the moment, but you do a part of the algorithm and suddenly it's the blue face, for example. So you don't have a little kind of reference point to take you back to the face you were working on. So if you sort of like lose your place in the middle of your algorithm, it's very easy to do an accidental scramble at that point. So that's a bit of an issue. There's also an issue, I don't know if I can replicate it, and I'm quite wary of doing so as well. I've seen a couple of people have had problems with the puzzle literally coming into two halves. They make a turn with the pieces misaligned slightly. There is a position, I can't find it at the moment, but there is a position where it actually feels like it's turning normally. No, I can't replicate it. I've done it by accident, but I can't remember exactly how it was misaligned. And you're making the turn, and suddenly you've literally got two halves, one in each hand. It is a misalignment issue, but there's just one particular place where it will turn, and it feels like it's turning just the same as it was before. So it's not, it sounds like you would think it would be completely obvious that it's happening, but it's really not. It feels like it's turning completely normally. I've just been lucky that I've noticed the gap appear over the top of the puzzle as I was turning it, and oh my god, turn it back and sort of like push things back into alignment and get it all back together. I really have been fortunate that I don't think I was far away from having that situation where the puzzle just had one half in one hand and one half in the other. So I'm giving you quite a strong warning about that, because I can't imagine it's going to be very easy to put it back together. I've seen on the Twisted Puzzle forum that somebody has got it back together, and I kind of offered a bit of advice because of what I'd seen causing it on mine. So it's doable, but obviously it's not something you want, because I can't imagine it's going to be easy to do. So yeah, if you get one of these, you do need to take a little care with the alignment. Having said all that, that's all the negative points. It is a very fun puzzle, and I really enjoyed solving it. It's if you know how to solve things like the dodecahedron, the face-turning starmings, and puzzles of that ilk, then maybe this is something you'll enjoy, because it's a fun puzzle. It's got elements of those puzzles in it. It's got extra elements as well. I don't want to give too many spoilers because this is a review, not a tutorial. And yeah, it's a fun puzzle. You just have to take a little care with it. But yeah, if you can solve those puzzles I just mentioned, then you probably can solve this. It's takes a little bit of inventiveness to do some certain pieces, and it's a bit more. I found like the little edge pieces, the two colour edge pieces, not difficult. I mean, they work the same as some pieces you would have come across before, but I think it's something to do with them being so small. I just found them really difficult to find sometimes. The one I was looking for, you know, I'm trying to insert this green yellow on here. I'd have to look around the puzzle 3 or 4 times before I'd actually find it, and I think it's because they're quite small compared to the rest of the pieces or something like that. I don't know. That's all I can think of. But yeah, fun puzzle. A few little quality issues, but nothing that makes me say you definitely shouldn't get this puzzle because it's terrible quality, unlike the constrained Megaminx I unboxed a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's a very fun puzzle, and it's not for beginners. It's definitely not for people who are just starting out. You want to have some good experience under your belt before trying to solve one of these, but if you have, then yeah, I definitely recommend it, to be honest. It's a fun puzzle, and yeah, don't take too much heart the comments about the quality and the turning quality. I mean, it does turn absolutely fine. You just have to take a little care with the alignment, that's all, and accept the fact they will occasionally get misaligned, and you're going to have to line things up again before you can make a next turn. You've got absolutely zero corner cutting ability, which is a factor of all void puzzles. The way they run around on the rails just doesn't allow for any kind of corner cutting at all. You can see there's a tiny little bit there and it just wouldn't go. So yeah, other than that, it's a great puzzle, as I've said several times now, so definitely recommend it. And it looks absolutely fabulous too. I love it. The one thing I was going to say, I forgot actually. This annoys me a little bit. This purple is like a lilac colour, whereas every other mf8 dodecahedron got identical colour schemes, and suddenly they've changed the purple on it. So it looks different on the shelf. I'll have it lined up on my shelves with all my other mf8 dodecahedrons, all with the identical colour schemes, so they look great, and one of them's got a different colour. I know it's not a big deal, but it's a bit annoying. It can't be that hard to buy another set of if they ran out another purple the same colour as the old one, surely. But oh well, that's not really important. But yeah, I think that's it for this video, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.